Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something pretty cool today.
Mhm.
It's this idea of balcony and basement people. I was reading an article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People, Cultivating Uplifting Interactions. And it really got me thinking about how some folks, well, they just leave you feeling amazing after a chat.
Mhm.
And then there are others, you kind of walk away feeling a bit drained.
Yeah, it's funny how some people just have that natural ability to lift you up,
Right.
while others, might not mean to, but they kind of drag you down a bit.
Yeah, it's like those folks who are up on a balcony showering you with all that positivity and encouragement. And then there are those, well, down in the basement. So today we're going to break down these balcony and basement people, figure out what makes them tick, and most importantly, see how we can be more like the balcony folks ourselves.
Sounds good. The article lays out some really clear characteristics of each type. Like those balcony people, they're like those friends who are always in your corner, cheering you on when you win and offering a helping hand when things get tough.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's like they genuinely believe in you, even when you're doubting yourself.
Exactly. They use their words to build you up, make you feel valued.
Mhm.
And that can make a world of difference, especially when you're facing challenges.
It really can. But then you got those basement people, and the article points out that they often chip away at your confidence, sometimes without even realizing it. Their words can just make you feel so insignificant, almost like they're dimming your light to fit their own, well, maybe a bit limited perspective.
It's interesting. An article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People, Cultivating Uplifting Interactions, points out that the key difference often comes down to intention. Balcony people genuinely want to lift others up.
Right.
Basement people, maybe not intentionally, but they tend to bring others down.
That's a really good point about intention. I mean, it's not always about being mean, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be their own struggles or insecurities that are coming through.
Absolutely. We've all probably had those moments where we unintentionally slipped into that basement behavior. Maybe we were stressed or going through something tough ourselves. The key is recognizing those patterns and making a conscious effort to be more balcony.
So true. I mean, how do we tell the difference between someone just having a rough day and someone who's consistently a basement person?
That's a great question. I think it's about looking at patterns over time. Is this a one-time thing or is it a recurring theme? It's also about how their words and actions make you and others feel. If it consistently leaves you feeling drained or put down, that's a sign to pay closer attention.
That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned those encouraging friends, the balcony types who celebrate our wins. It reminds me of this time when I was really struggling with a project at work. I had this colleague, I won't name names, but she was like a total balcony person. Instead of focusing on the setbacks, she kept reminding me of my strengths and past successes. It was like she had this unwavering faith in me, even when I was doubting myself.
That's a perfect example of what the article calls speaking life into others. Your colleague, by focusing on your strengths, she basically nurtured a sense of hope and possibility in you. It's subtle, but it's incredibly powerful.
It makes me wonder if this speaking life idea can go beyond just personal interactions. Could we apply it to our work, our goals, even how we talk to ourselves?
That's a great point. I think it absolutely can. Imagine tackling a tough task with that same balcony mindset, focusing on the potential for growth instead of dwelling on the fear of failure.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I'm all in on this balcony thing. What are some practical steps I can take to cultivate those qualities in myself? Like, how do I become more of that uplifting person?
Well, an article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People, Cultivating Uplifting Interactions has some great advice. It talks about the power of words. Really taking a moment before you speak and thinking, okay, are my words going to lift this person up or bring them down? It's about making that choice to use words that encourage and empower and make people feel seen.
It's like that saying, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Maybe we need a balcony version. Is it encouraging? Is it supportive? Is it empowering?
I like that. And beyond the words themselves, it's also about truly listening, really hearing what the other person is saying, understanding their perspective, responding with empathy.
Right.
When someone feels heard, it creates that safe space for them to open up.
That makes sense. And that safe space, it's so important for building real connections. It lets us be vulnerable, support each other, and celebrate those wins together. It's like creating this little balcony community where everyone feels valued.
And speaking of celebrating, the article mentions how balcony people are genuinely excited about other people's achievements. They recognize the effort, the accomplishments, big or small.
It's like they're genuinely happy for you when good things happen, even if it has nothing to do with them.
Exactly. They're not threatened by your success. They see it as something to celebrate. And that kind of positive reinforcement, it's incredibly motivating. An article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People, Cultivating Uplifting Interactions, even points out that it doesn't always have to be some grand gesture. Sometimes those small, everyday acts of kindness can make a huge impact. A quick compliment, a word of encouragement, even just listening can really brighten someone's day.
That's so true. And this reminds me of a blog post I read by Melinda Hearn. I choose today to use my words for love. She talks about taking a breath before speaking to really consider the impact of your words. She even suggests replacing the word love with words in that passage from Corinthians about love being patient, kind, all that. So it becomes words are patient, words are kind.
That's brilliant. It totally reframes the whole way we think about communication. It pushes us to make our words match those values of love and
It's
kindness.
like a mental checklist, right? Before you speak, ask yourself, are my words patient? Are they kind? Am I building this person up or tearing them down?
Exactly. And it's important to remember that this balcony approach doesn't mean you can't have tough conversations or give constructive feedback.
Right.
It's about doing it with respect and a genuine desire to help.
I see what you mean. It's like the difference between criticism and constructive criticism. It's about helping someone grow, not just pointing out their flaws.
You got it.
Yeah.
And an article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People, Cultivating Uplifting Interactions also points out that balcony people, while supportive, are also honest and real. They don't avoid those difficult conversations. They approach them with empathy, wanting to help.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about how to cultivate that balcony energy within ourselves. But let's face it, we can't always control what other people bring to the table. What happens when we find ourselves dealing with a basement person?
That can be tricky. It's easy to get pulled into their negativity, to get defensive, or try to fix their problems, but the article emphasizes sometimes the best thing to do is just not engage with that negativity.
Like refusing to play their game, right?
Yeah.
Not letting them bring you down to their level.
Exactly. But how do we do that without seeming like we don't care?
Right, that's a good question.
That's where setting boundaries comes in. You have the right to protect your own emotional space. So you calmly and clearly communicate how that behavior affects you. It's not about attacking them, but stating your needs. Like you could say, I understand you're going through something, but I need you to be mindful of how your words are affecting me. I want to support you, but I can't engage with this negativity.
It's like being assertive but compassionate, recognizing their feelings but also protecting yourself. But what about those times when setting boundaries doesn't work and they keep bringing that basement energy?
Sometimes the best thing you can do is distance yourself, create some space from that negativity.
So it's not about abandoning them.
No, not at all. It doesn't mean you don't care about them. It just means you recognize you can't control their behavior, only how you react to it.
It's like taking a break to recharge your own batteries.
Precisely. You have to prioritize your own well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup.
And we talked earlier about how basement behavior can sometimes come from those personal struggles and insecurities. I wonder if there are times when we can actually help shift the dynamic, bring some of that balcony light into their basement.
Yeah, it's a fine line, right? You don't want to enable negativity, but you also want to be supportive.
For sure.
I think it's about being discerning, recognizing that you can't change someone, but you can offer support, maybe a listening ear, a different perspective. Sometimes just reflecting back what they're saying can help them see their own negativity.
It's not about fixing them, but giving them a chance to maybe see things differently.
Yeah.
This whole balcony and basement idea,
Yeah.
it feels like it goes beyond just how we talk to each other.
Mm.
It's almost like a way of being in the world, a choice we make with every interaction.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about being aware of the energy we bring to our interactions, the impact of our words. It's about choosing to be that source of light and positivity.
It makes you wonder, what kind of world could we create if we all tried to be a little more balcony? And you know what? It reminds me of that call to action in Melinda Hearn's blog. I choose today to use my words for love. She challenges us to lift someone up with our words. It's so simple, but so powerful.
It really is. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture, just a genuine compliment, a word of appreciation, even a smile can make a difference.
Totally. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into balcony and basement people, is there one key takeaway you hope sticks with our listeners?
I think it's that we have a choice in how we interact with the world. We can choose negativity or we can choose to be that source of light. It's a choice we make every time we interact with someone, every word we say, every action we take.
And that choice, that intentionality, makes all the difference. We can all work on being more balcony even when things get tough. It's about self-awareness, compassion, and just being mindful of how we communicate. Kind of like we learned from an article titled The Concept of Balcony and Basement People. Cultivating uplifting interactions, even small acts of kindness, can make a big difference. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, remember to be the balcony you want